already. I'm Courtney Callow. During the day, I'm Director of Development at Long Trail School. And this is Chef Jonathan Jakob, JJ, from the Barrows House in Dorset, Vermont. So we are very excited. I am especially grateful to you for joining me. I sort of dragged him into this, and he's been really good sport about it. We have an incredible German meal for you guys tonight. And I have to tell you, when I first started, I talked to Colleen down at the Barrows House, and she said, JJ's from Texas. He wants to do Texan food. And I said, that's fine. I said, I'll go with anything. When we met, we found we are bosom buddies. We're both very German. We're very, very German. So tonight, I'm very excited because I was a German major in college. My father was German, my grandfather was German, so you have a huge German heritage as well. So we started talking and immediately discovered that we both love German food and have that in common, and decided to do a German meal for you. So, Chef, what are we going to start with?
Well, we're gonna start with Kartoffelpoppers. I'm not saying it correctly, but
Kartoffelpopper.
there you go. And with applesauce. So
Applesauce.
And so the story behind that is that as kids, my dad, who's from Germany, we wouldn't eat the inside of potato pancakes, and he hated wasting food, so he put them in balls and called them Kartoffelpoppers. And when I got into the business, I was working at a pretty big German restaurant back in Texas, and we were trying to execute a lot of potato pancakes, and 1,000 a day. It wasn't happening. So he's like, why don't you just make the balls? And so we at one time I was doing 1,000, 1,200 of these balls, and they're really good.
I got to sample one before. They're amazing.
And then
Unglaublich.
And then the main.
I'm going to keep interjecting German because I get to speak German. So sorry.
And then the main dish is going to be rouladen. Rouladen comes in many shapes and forms. It's the eastern part of Europe, so Bavaria is the origins of it. Czech Republic, Germany, Austria, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Poland. So there's very many different types. So Germans to say, oh, rouladen, which one are you going to make, and this and that. And so the one that I grew up on, the one my dad made, is very simple. It's just around beef, onion, a little bit of garlic, a pickle, and bacon. The pickle throws everyone off. But the pickle adds the acid, adds the flavor. Mm-hmm. It essentially comes out almost like a corned beef is what it comes out to be.
And we have the good stuff tonight.
Yeah.
If you guys can see that, typically rouladen is something that it's comfort food, but it's meant to go around and be economical.
Well, and what the Germans were trying to do was, of course, eat every part of the animal. Well, around typically is not the best cut of meat in the world. So what they did was traditionally it's pounded. It's cut a little bit thicker traditionally too. I sliced it a little bit thinner to where it's a little easier to eat, and also so I didn't have to pound it. But the around, so you cook it on high is what it is, and so it's a very simple dish. Spätzle, it's Spätzle. This Spätzle came from the Vermont Spätzle Company out of Arlington. It's gluten-free. So what we try to do at the Barrows House is try to do 90% gluten-free on the menu as much as we can, including the Kartoffelpoppers. They're gluten-free as well. And so this is Vermont Spätzle, or Spätzle. And we're going to just cook it simply in herb butter, salt, pepper, that's it. And then New Braunfels red cabbage. So with this, the recipe comes from New Braunfels, Texas, from the Junior League. Back in the 70s, the ladies from the Junior League graciously wrote about 3 different recipes for red cabbage. And this is one that I kind of like. So that's what we did there. And that's it.
All right, so where are we starting?
We're going to start rolling the rouladen first.
Okay.
So the first thing you always want to do is always get your pan hot. So please. So we're going to get that hot. You want to lay two pieces, and of course, if you get this done at the butcher, they have a large enough slicer where they can do the whole eye around. but you want it as long as you possibly can get. I season my meat really, really, really heavily because I don't season it once it gets into the pot. So, and also, typically Germans and Eastern Europeans, they don't like a lot of salt and pepper, or Europeans in general, but we're Americans and we love our salt. So a lot of onions. So again, in that region, the two most abundant things in Eastern Europe that they can grow all year round are onions and potatoes. Hence the reason why you got steak and potatoes. So you lay it down, a lot of onion. You lay down.
That is a lot of onion.
Yeah. You lay down.
You're welcome.
You lay down 2 pieces of bacon, and then your pickle, and you just roll it.
God, that's good.
Yeah, it is good.
So I'll do a few. This might take a second.
Can I try one?
Sure. So you want to put it down like that.
Okay.
So you want to go up high as you can go. There you go, because you want to spread it out. Higher the better.
So I am channeling my inner father tonight. My dad was a chef,
And then some onions.
and so I told JJ, who actually looks a lot like JJ. You needed curly Q mustache. You had a curly Q mustache. But anyway, so hopefully you're watching this, Dad.
So the onion juice is great. The more onion juice, the
More
better.
onion juice, the better.
More onion juice, the better.
All right.
All right.
Go. Then
Bacon.
bacon. Shinken. No calories.
No calories.
Not at all.
And then pickle.
And then pickles. All right.
Oh, well, so you're going to want to put the pickle right at the end. You're going to want one. You just going to want one.
That was planned. That was staged.
Okay, so you're going to want to get this piece
Oop,
and roll
there
it.
we go. All right. And you said now you can tie it.
So traditionally,
Or-
too, you tie them. You do a
Okay.
rough tie. But at home, my dad didn't have time for that. So what we do is we're going to put it in a pan. So this pan is already warm because you want to hard sear them, which
And you
it's
put
not
them upright.
You put them upright.
Upright. Huh.
And then what you do to hold them is you get 2 potatoes, or you get potatoes, and you stick them in to hold them in. So we're going to let that go. We're going to go on to the next process and
I'm
go
gonna
into
this side.
the kartoffel poppers while this
Okay.
is cooking. So the oil is already hot. You want to cook it around 325 to 350. We always got to clean. 325 to 350. And they only take a second. So if you blink, they're
done.
They're done. So you can either do it with the spoon. Today we're doing a spoon, or you could do an ice cream scoop, as big as you want it, as small as you want it. So today, because this is a small little fryer, we're just going to do, about 1.5 ounces. I'm going to just put them right in.
My dad used to say that this is where chefs always failed at CIA because they would come up and there'd be nothing left in the basket.
Well,
But actually, deep frying there's an art to deep frying.
very much so. And my sous chef and I are very lucky that we've done these over and over and over. All right, they're actually looking good. So we're good. So as we're doing that, we can start getting the pan hot for the spätzle. So the pan has to be really hot for a spätzle in order for it so it doesn't stick, because it is flour. This one is just flour, a little bit of egg, and water. So when it hits the heat, if your pan is too, not hot enough, it's just gonna plain stick, and then it's miserable trying to get it off. So
Now you said your grandfather was a pastry chef?
So my dad unfortunately was born in 47, and so right after the war, and so his mother was a German teacher for the U.S. Army, so she met him, my grandfather. What we know of him, because he obviously went back to the States, what we know of him is that he was a pastry chef. So there's 2 pictures of him standing in front of all these pastries, and with the big chef hat on, and it looked pretty cool.
Have you ever? Do you bake as well?
No.
No.
So
That was a definite.
well, so in culinary school, I did 1 year of pastry and 1 year of savory. In order to pass culinary school, I had to come up with a recipe, and the cake, the little chocolate cake that we have at the Barrow's house, is the recipe I came up with 16 years ago now, and that's how I passed.
That's a good story. That's a good story.
All right, so the Tartuffe poppers are done, and so we'll let them rest up there for a little while. And so what we want to do is get your applesauce.
Have you ever? Now you've worked all over the world. So have you ever worked in Germany?
No, but I
No?
worked in Brussels. I worked in Florence, Italy, and at a place called Villa Belvedere, little villa outside of Florence, near Mercatali and San Gimignano and all those little towns. And then I went to Paris and cooked at a place called Le Trois. And
Do you have a favorite place that you've been?
I hate them all. No, I'm kidding. No, I liked Villa Belvedere. It's very laid back. The Italians are just very, they're very passionate people, but they're very laid back. The first time I came to Vermont, I never thought I would ever end up in Vermont. I'm from big city, San Antonio. Where's Vermont at? I had never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever end up in Dorset. But whenever I got the call to come interview, and I met Colleen, met John and Neil at the Dorset Inn, I said, okay, this is cool. And then, I cooked with them, hung out with them, got to know them, and really enjoyed myself. So very fortunate. Steve and Lauren, the owners, are probably hands down, probably some of the best owners I ever worked with. So, they're.
And you survived Vermont winters?
I don't even wear a heavy coat. So it's.
You're fine.
I'm fine.
So with all of the hype now these days, which didn't exist when my dad was a chef, of all these top chef shows, and what do you think about the industry? Would you recommend somebody who's a senior in high school to go to culinary school?
God, no. So I'd say stay away. But I mean, to be a cook, to be a chef, and so to be a cook, to be a chef in this industry, you got to have a lot of dedication and patience. You lose a lot. I've lost a lot more than what I've gained in this.
Do you think it's a calling similar to like teaching or being a nurse?
I think it's actually genetics. So someone in your family somewhere has to be able to cook.
Yeah.
Whether it's your mom or your dad, whether they're professional or not, it's kind of in your blood. So it's just like playing music. If no one in your family plays music, chances are you're not going to be a musician. So you kind of. I had 3 ways to go in my life. I think to be a mechanic like my dad, be in the military, which I already done, or to cook. And so, I was not going to be a mechanic. I'm terrible. So I chose to cook, and it stuck with me. And again, you grow up. You start off making minimum wage, working 16 hours, and it takes 20 plus years to actually ever be able to survive, really. So
What's your favorite food to make?
I just like cooking in general. Right now I'm getting made fun of a lot because I like cooking Asian. So like Indian spices, Asian food, it's just interesting. So this would be the end product. So this is essentially how I would send out the plate. We're gonna start finishing off the main course. There's a lot of interesting history just in food and how things kind of come about. But
They like sour things, similar to, like you said, your grandmother was very stubborn.
very stubborn. She was very stubborn and sour herself.
And sour.
So, good. But her name was Alfreda, and she was actually a really strong and independent lady. And she ended up retiring, working with newborns, with premature, and that's what when she came to the States, that's what she did. So this is the end result of the rouladen. It looks like what it sounds like a rolled piece of meat. And you can smell it. It's probably one of my favorite smells.
Yep.
So when my dad made this, we knew that we were in trouble. When my dad made rouladen,
And why is that though? Like, what?
I don't know.
It was a sign.
Yeah, well, my dad, this is that typical German. He never let you know when he was mad until he let you know. So, so we're going to use a little slurry tonight to thicken our sauce. So we're using cornstarch, though, which is gluten-free. So in order to get the slurry thickened, you got to have this as hot as you can get.
Usually need a whisk, or does it matter?
Yeah, well,
Me too. We didn't look for here.
well,
Here you go.
innovation.
Voila. It's a little big, but
Well, and this is a little thick.
ooh.
So the idea with
Yum.
Barrows right now is to have a southern Vermont flair with the Texas twist to it. So I'm bringing a lot of Texas influence, as much as I possibly can pack, and smoking meats. So smoking meats, doing a little bit of everything. Mexican food.
You guys are having were you doing a
Texas Tuesday.
Texas Tuesday? I saw
So, so we do a little bit of everything on Texas Tuesday. Chicken fried steak, or again, I think tomorrow's gonna be chicken fried steak and ribs, smoked ribs. So Texas is huge. It's about the size of Europe. Yeah, that's gonna be hot. So now the sauce is ready. So actually, I'll move this since you're leaning over there.
I'm just liking the smell of the red cabbage. Oh, it smells so good.
That's a really good red cabbage.
Yep.
So and then summertime's coming up, so we're gonna have New England dishes along with Texas dishes, and just keep on pushing. And we also have a bakery, Dorset Rising, across the street. So we get a lot of our desserts and a lot of our breads, pastries from them. And when we get too busy or anything like that, we also have the support of the Dorset in it. So put the spätzle in the pan. We're gonna hit it with a little bit of water, just a little bit, because you shock it. And again, it's gonna want to stick a little bit. So
And what's that?
this is a garlic herb butter or fiend butter.
Yum.
So this has garlic, shallot, parsley, rosemary, thyme. Technically, it should have some dill in it, but I don't think we have dill in it today. So it's a good helping of it. Can't be shy. And you just take your spoon.
Oh my God, that looks amazing.
Yeah. So some people like it really, really crispy, as you could, as you're going to be able to see. But sometimes it doesn't it doesn't do what you want it to do. Because in the restaurant industry, every pan has its own attitude. And so, one pan's going to cook it excellent, and the next pan you pull down, you're going to try to do the same thing, and it's not going to be so good. So this is a good pan. So lo and behold, we have some crunch to it. And
Yeah,
this
I
one,
like spätzle a little bit crunchier.
yeah, so you can fry it. You could do mac and cheese with it. You can do a lot of different things. So this is also a no boil spätzle. Usually with spätzle, you got to put it into boiling water, and you take it right out of the water, put it right into the pan
Right.
in order to crisp it. But this one, and we're done.
Woohoo!
So now we're gonna plate it.
This is kind of cool. One of our cameramen is a Long Trail alum who I went to Germany with. So, is this looking good, Jason?
So we're just gonna plate it, put everything in the middle. Then we're gonna take a rouladen, and we're gonna slice it. So you'll be able to see the layers of the bacon, the onion, the
So you
pickle.
could tell, like, if any of the Desperate Housewives of Beverly Hills are coming to stay at the Barrows house, they could eat this because it's gluten free.
Yeah, but
Right?
but
So-
yeah, but it's meat, so they can.
Well said.
So they're gonna want just a spatzel. Okay, and then we're gonna sauce it. So you're gonna want to put it right over, and so the
Yum.
so the spatzel will soak up the gravy. And then we come over here and we get some of this beautiful red cabbage, really good color. Means it's not overcooked.
Now, what are the smells that I'm smelling out of the red cabbage?
You got star anise. You got cinnamon. You got juniper berry, sugar, and Yoder Farm cider.
Yep,
And that's it.
that's it. It just ferments.
And
Oh my gosh. So, one of my favorite German words, ausgezeichnet, which means amazing.
oh, I just made a mess.
Yum.
And we got the rouladen dish.
All right, so here we go. So, lastly, we would say,
As Wiedersehen.
guten Appetit. So, thank you, JJ. Amazing. Awesome. So, we are going to take a little bit of a break, come back, and you guys get to ask some questions from mostly you. So. Welcome back, everybody. It is time for questions, mainly for our chef extraordinaire, I imagine. So, who's got some questions out there? Yes.
Hey, John, when are we going to have a German night at the Barrows house?
I knew that was gonna come. Well, I don't know. Oktoberfest.
There you go. That's a good answer.
So October. Well, we have 2 months of German Fest, Oktoberfest, and then Wurstfest. So which runs back to back. So maybe then.
Can you describe the sauce that you made on top of the rouladen?
So the sauce. That's actually a good question. So the sauce.
You're in trouble now.
Oh, God.
You're in trouble now.
So the sauce is actually it's everything that comes out. So the reason why you put so much onions in there is because all the juices from the onions that comes in. So the trick is again to have your pan really hot so you sear it so you get the beef flavor, you get your meat flavor. Then the onion juice and the pickle juice goes into that, and that's what builds the sauce. I put Queen City Porter. I know it's not German, but you want to use a Dunkel or a very heavy dark beer. And,
Dunkel.
Yes.
Sorry.
To braise it off, my dad would just put water. I like to use. I like it very yeasty, and then I put some demi-glaze in there to bind it. Or you can use a beef base. So the grocery store Nor makes a really good beef base or a demi. Also little demi packets, you can add it to your sauces. And then of course you finish it off with either the potato starch or rice starch or don't really use too many roux in Germany. You do for a few things. But you use the natural, mainly like the potato starches, a lot of them. So that's kind of the sauce. It's just mainly the drippings from the roulade. And we just build it up a little bit, and that's it.
I guess just in general, being an industry chef, what is your favorite thing about cooking every day?
It's kind of the satisfaction of trying to be able to serve people. So in this industry, you have to be willing to, number one, you have to be humble. So, and you have to be willing to take a lot of criticism. But when you get something right, the thrill of that is probably the ultimate. Also, it's just like a firefighter or a policeman. When you're going to a fire, you get that rush. And when everything starts coming in, all the tickets, and you start cooking, and the sound of the fans and the sound of the fire, it's kind of like it's exhilarating. So we might gripe back there. All cooks gripe, and we're tired. We don't want to do this. But at the end of the day, I feel good whenever I walk out, especially if I had a really good night and the service went well, and you feel like you achieved something. That's probably the best part. Also, now later on, now that I'm coming to the pinnacle, or to get into my early 40s. But which is kind of, you start off in your 20s, and once you get to your 40s, hopefully you're good. But
What about your 50s?
well, that's your 50s are your golden years. But now is also given a chance to be able to teach the kids, and hopefully be able to show them what's right and wrong, and show them what your mistakes were, because we all go through it growing up, especially in this business. So you want to make sure the younger generation don't make the same mistakes as you did, and so on and so forth. So that's also the cool part, and continuing learning as well. So if you're not learning, you're not cooking. So you constantly have to learn, constantly have to strive for better. Can't take no for an answer, and just do it.
So we want to thank GNAT. They provide so much for this community, and I'm excited. I work with them with my Long Trail hat on, and I'm just so appreciative of all the different shows that they do. And this was a great opportunity for me. It's lots of fun to do this, meet you, and I'm right up the road from you every day. So now you're stuck with me.
Oh boy.
But good appetit. We're going to dig into some great German food, and thank you everybody for coming.